Hi, welcome to College Connection. My name is May Hanna and I'm your host. And this is a show about UC Claremont College and all the great things happening at the college and in our community. I'd like to welcome to the show Jay Page, Assistant Professor of Business Management and Marketing. And Jay, this is your second time on this show, so
Yes,
welcome back.
Thank you.
And students Maggie Cowens. Welcome, Maggie.
Thanks.
And Matt Beatley.
Thank you very much.
So I'm so happy to have you all here. You are fresh off a trip to Portland, Oregon, and this is the second time this group has gone to Portland with Professor Page.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you promised last year when you came, you said you were going to do this again, and indeed you did.
Absolutely.
And you said you'd come back and share the experience this year.
Definitely.
So let our viewers know what this is about,
Sure.
why you're doing this at UC
Okay.
Claremont College,
Absolutely.
and just kind of give them a little bit of an overview.
Definitely. When I first got to UC Claremont 2.5 years ago, I was looking for an opportunity to do something to take our students on some experiential learning. Our main campus focuses on international experiences, but nobody really had concentrated on the domestic travel experience. And as I knew, and a lot of our students didn't know, there's different cultures in the United States, different ways businesses are operated, different geographic characteristics that can impact business. So I developed a model to take students to Portland, Oregon, selected business students to participate over spring break. We did one last year, and then this is our second year doing it this year. And as a matter of fact, we've already got our 12 students picked for next year. So the third year is already rolling.
That's
Matt's
great.
going to be a student leader next year. So reason why Portland, it's really just an eclectic entrepreneurial city that focuses on startup businesses as well as having a lot of iconic companies located there, especially in the athletic and outdoor apparel industry. Being so geographically diverse with Mount Hood that has snow 365 days a year, and then the Pacific Ocean 70 miles away, it really breeds as a testing ground for all these different companies to prosper in Portland and in the Oregon area. Over the last 20 years, they've had right around 700 companies start in the Portland area in that industry. So we were able to do a lot of studying of business in that and really provide just some unique experiences for our students. One of the goals was to interact with key business decision makers. So we sat down with a small startup company, scratch and grain banking company that makes cookie kits, and heard about their story. Ladies appeared on Shark Tank. They were neighbors, decided to start a small business, and Portland's a great breeding ground for businesses, so they've been pretty successful. All the way up to Pendleton Woolen Mills, which is one of the iconic brands in the United States that have been in business since 1869. And our students had a chance to sit down not only with several key decision makers within the company, but the president of Pendleton, Mort Bishop. And the Bishop family actually founded the company in the 1800s, so he's in the 5th generation now. So it was really impressive to be able to sit down and have our students share that experience with him. Overall, right around 40 different experiences the students were able to participate in. Again, from a startup entrepreneur all the way to Pendleton, as well as a lot of unique food establishments are in Portland. Portland was just recognized by USA Today as the #1 foodie town in the world. Plus they have the huge concentration in the food cart industry as well,
Right.
with over 500 in Portland. So that was another great way, a concept that I think Cincinnati should look at. So there's a wide variety of things we did. Also bringing textbooks to life is kind of our mantra in the business program. So we sat around and talked about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that Pendleton might face, or the name brand of the scratch and grain baking company, does that fit who they are? And a wide variety of other different things in that arena as well. And then third focus was really exposing students to maybe different careers that they didn't understand. And a great example of that is their travel and tourism, their DMO, their destination marketing organization, Travel Portland. A lot of students don't realize you can get a job selling something intangible like a city and an experience. And Travel Portland has really positively impacted the city. Last year alone, they had over $125 million in revenue from conventions and meetings that they helped bring into the area. So
That's fantastic. So Matt, was this your first trip?
It was. Jay didn't select me to go at first, but after someone dropped out, I was the first alternate to get to go on this trip. And
Great.
I heard about it about 3-4 months maybe before it actually happened, and the excitement that Jay put into my mind and put into this trip made it sound like it was going to be one of the best experiences I've ever had at college, and it proved to be just that.
That's wonderful. And so Maggie, this was your second time going, so you were a veteran this year. Tell us about your experience.
So it was different this time around because I was able to go back and see things from a different perspective.
Oh, great.
Because last year when I went, I was, concerned about, oh, this and that. And this time I went back, and it was nice to be able to say like, oh, I've already seen this, and I can take more of this in, and it was very refreshing.
That's terrific. And so from the student perspective, it was how long? How long were you there in Portland?
We were there from
6 nights and 7 days.
6 nights and 7 days.
Last year's
So that's a long.
Yes,
I mean,
Meg,
it's not
definitely.
like 3 or 4 days
No,
that you're there. I mean, that
absolutely.
is a long, intensive time. And I remember when you all came back, Maggie, you were sharing that from the minute you got to the hotel. Tell the viewers about that. You walked into the hotel and it was...
Yeah, we dropped our bags right in the hotel lobby, and Scratch and Grain Baking Company was sitting there waiting for us to talk to us about their company. And we had ordered pizza delivered to the hotel because we were all starving.
So it was, the itinerary was just, I mean, I know you had it jam-packed.
Absolutely, yes,
For
ma'am.
the students.
Definitely.
And they saw how many companies over the course of the 6 days?
I would say probably about 30 companies and over 50 key business decision makers.
That's
so,
really
we're-
impressive.
It was a very intensive trip, but I think the students really appreciated all the things that we were able to do and the wide variety of different interactions. Not only did we get to really study the business of Portland, we spent a day on the Pacific Ocean as well, so they got to see the Pacific Ocean. A lot of our students the first time to being able to do that. And we toured a really interesting resort, that Wayfarer Restaurant and then Surf Sand Resort. The Martin Management Group runs both of those properties. So they were able to be able to understand a little bit of the hospitality industry in a coastal area rather than being here in the Midwest, and all the different. Much easier to sell on the Cannon Beach because it's one of the most famous beaches on the Pacific Ocean with Haystack Rock, which is featured in Goonies and a couple other things. So,
Oh, that's really
Yes.
neat. So I know a lot of college students, when they come to Claremont, they're not sure that they're going to get a full array of college experiences. So I know that that's really important to the faculty.
Absolutely.
Like you, Jay,
Yes, ma'am.
that you offer these sort of experiences that they can get
Definitely.
through UC Claremont. And this
Absolutely.
was a 4-credit.
yes, it is we utilize one of our independent study and business classes. So the students that I select, this year there was actually 16 students. It was a bigger group this year.
Wow.
And as you mentioned, a longer experience. I think we're going to do 12 next year, but they do get 3 college credits for it. They do have some pre-work that they have to do. And then also they have a reflection document that's due at the end of the experience that really, I think, focuses them on not only from an academic development standpoint, but a lot of students, I think, had a lot of personal development out there. We had 2 students this time had never been on a plane before, so they got to experience that.
Right.
A lot of our students do live at home. A lot of them have not traveled west of the Mississippi, so they were able to get out and be able to be independent on their own and be able to make decisions. And I think we saw a lot of personal growth as well as professional growth while we were on the experience, and that's part of the reason why I want to go across country like that. And Portland is an incredibly welcoming city. It's very hospitable, and you feel comfortable at times. And then with their incredible light rail and streetcar system, we're able to move groups around really easily, which takes a lot less walking and different things like that. So.
And I know one of the focuses you had, because I got to sit in your presentation, the students did a presentation post
Yes.
their Portland trip, was about the connection with the light rail in Portland, that it's a model for the Cincinnati light rail. So what were your impressions as students, just sort of thinking about this is what it looks like here and this is what we'll have in Cincinnati at some point? What's your impression of that? Either one of you.
I love the streetcar that they have out there. The stops that it makes and the fact that it tells you when the next train is coming and things like that makes it an incredible form of transportation for people. And on top of that, you rarely see people that own cars in Portland. It's a very bikey town too, so whether you're biking or using the streetcar, the biggest thing that I saw and that was confirmed for me out in Portland was the urban development that comes with the streetcar. So we went on a day with John Schneider, and we had a lot. Day was a lot to do with the streetcar, and we got to see a lot of the apartment buildings or buildings that were built up around the streetcar route, and we're already beginning to see that in Cincinnati. The apartment buildings and the buildings that have just gone up and have gone high prices because of the fact that the streetcar is coming. And I think it'll be a great form of transportation for people, and I hope they connect it to the University of Cincinnati and down to Newport, and I think you'll get a lot of vacationers riding it that way, and a lot of students. So I think it'll be a great form of transportation once it comes to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the positive changes and the impact on the city that the streetcar is going to have.
And for those people that say, oh, they're opposed to the streetcar, I mean, you all got to witness, 6 or 7 days of it, and you're obviously, you're the population that's sort of, up and coming. Your take on it is that it's a great investment for the city. So from your point of view.
I did. I was skeptical going into it because of the fact of how much money it's costing the city. But after I saw how it worked and how many people actually utilize it now that the fact that it's up, it's running, and it's influential around Portland, I think it'll be the same way for Cincinnati. And I think people just need to see it get up and get started and actually see people use it. And then you'll see many skeptics turn positive about the streetcar.
That's great. That's great. I think the most impressive piece about your trip is that the students just seem to just get business in a different way because they've now had this opportunity to really meet with all of these CEOs and creative folks, and talk a little bit about some of the businesses you have. You have some of the pieces that you brought with you, and I know in the presentation you talked a little bit about each of the businesses.
Right. As I alluded to, one of the reasons why Portland is definitely different here in the Midwest is the heavy concentration of athletic and outdoor apparel. So we have Danner and Nutcase, that both would fall into that industry. Danner's known for, been in business since 1932, made in the USA products. Most of them are made there in Portland, Oregon. They actually have sold, they're known for their boots, and they actually have contracts with the military occasionally, so that shows you the quality of the product. I think at least one of our students brought a pair home, so they were so impressed by a meeting with the management team as well as a buyer that was in the store at the same time. We were able to interact with both of them and learn about the philosophy of Danner and get one of the things that is unique with Danner is no matter how long you own your boots, if some of the material starts fraying or the heel starts coming off, you just mail them back, they'll fix them and send them back to you at no charge. So again, they stand behind their product. And that's one of the things that's really unique to Portland is a lot of goods are made right there in the Oregon area. The Nutcase is another eclectic company that started in 2009. A gentleman decided to leave Nike and had no clue what he wanted to do, and he was going to an Oregon football game, kind of our Ohio State and Michigan rivalry here in the Midwest, and put a bicycle helmet on and hated the Ducks, so he drove some stakes through some ducks, and anyhow, happened to be an ESPN Game Day game and got all kinds of publicity. His phone was ringing off the wall, where can I get a cool bicycle helmet? So Nutcase Helmets was born, and we got to spend time in their world headquarters, and they are a worldwide company now. I think they're sold in over 13 or 14 countries across the world. Got to meet with the co-founder as well as a lot of their key decision makers and tour their world headquarters and see a lot of the concepts that they're working on. And not only do they make bicycle helmets, but they also make motorcycle, kayak, skiing, so they have a wide variety of things. One of the iconic companies or brands of Portland is Voodoo Donuts. A couple guys just decided to make some outlandishly crazy donuts with an incredible amount of variety of toppings, including Captain Crunch cereal, Oreos, on and on and on. So it's become quite the Portland institution, as well as in the United States. Open 24 hours a day. Most of the time you stand in line for at least a half hour, 45 minutes. So again, a very Portland type company. One of Portland's mantras is keep Portland weird, and you can see it's a pink box, and all their flavors kind of fit into the mindset of the company. And we spent a lot of time talking about that. And we actually ate at a competing chain called Blue Star that's also in Oregon and Portland. And so we were able to kind of compare and contrast what makes one better than the other. So we were doing some business things as well as we enjoyed the wonderful Voodoo Donuts. So
did you all have Voodoo Donuts? And while you were there. What'd you think of the Voodoo Donuts?
So good.
They're great. The amount of uniqueness, definitely uniqueness that they have to each and every donut is outstanding.
They're very colorful, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, and then what was the name of the other place?
Blue Star.
Blue Star.
And what's the difference between the two that you found?
So I think Blue Star is more of a breakfast donut, and Voodoo is more of a dessert type donut. And I prefer Blue Star. I actually got a green donut there, and it was vegan, and it was very good. Yeah.
That's great.
Their
What about
slogan
you,
is-
Matt?
Go ahead.
Well, Voodoo's the donut for the kid at heart, and Blue Star's kind of the donut for the adult. So there's a big difference between the two. I enjoyed Voodoo more because of the fact that the uniqueness that they have, and I've never seen a donut like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very fun.
Blue Star's slogan is actually donut for the grown-up. So Matt, hit it right on the button that Voodoo is much more the child at heart, and Blue Star positions themselves more as an upscale adult type donut. So
That's fantastic. So, as students, I mean, obviously, this has been hugely impactful, and for you, Maggie, especially, this is the second year you've done it. And what was your biggest takeaway from the trip? I mean, each of you, what was the biggest thing that you came back and you just thought, well, this is really what I learned about? And it doesn't have to be about a, specific business, but just in a holistic sort of way.
Right. Like, as I'm nearing graduation and beginning to really think about what I'm going to do when I graduate and for the rest of my life, going to Portland this time around was really nice to be able to see the businesses again and talk with people who started from nothing and they're working their way up, or they're in this big company now and they're still doing great things. And so it gives you insight to every aspect of a business, every aspect of a company, and it's really inspirational, and it gives me hope that there's something out there for me, and once I find it, I'm gonna love it.
That's great. And what about you, Matt?
Mine was the streetcar. As I said, I came into it I followed the streetcar in Cincinnati, and I came into it kind of not knowing whether or not I was for or against it. But the day with John Schneider and the day with the group from Cincinnati that he brought down was very impactful for me. I think everyone should hear the story that he tells about the streetcar. He makes it seem like it will work. And the model that they have out there is simply a great model. And I hope that it does the same thing to our city in the future.
Well, that's great. So you all have T-shirts on, so we can't, ignore the fact that you all have your messages that you're wearing, and the students are wearing Tom and She T-shirts, and that sort of fits in with this because they were very much entrepreneurs. So tell us a little bit about why you have the T-shirts on and how that sort of fits in with some of these experiences that you're having.
Sure. So Matt and I are both executives on PACE. I'm president, he's the vice president.
And what's PACE?
PACE is a business student organization at Claremont College and stands for Professionalism, Academics, Character, and Experience.
Great.
And with Professor Page's help, we've developed this extremely awesome connection and relationship with Tom and Chi. They're a grilled cheese and tomato soup shop for the kid at heart. And so with this relationship that we've built, we've actually been doing student internships there.
Great.
So I have an internship, and so does Matt. And I work in the marketing.
Great.
And do you want to talk about yours?
I work in the franchising department.
Wow. That is fantastic.
absolutely, May. Yeah.
And so a lot of this has come about just as the Portland trip has, just developing business relationships. Some were in Portland, some were here in Cincinnati.
Absolutely.
I know one of the things that, Jay, you've been really instrumental in is just taking students, not just to Portland, but I know you've taken them to Procter & Gamble and to Kroger and to places like Tom and She. And I know through your connections with that, these local companies have been able to meet our students and obviously are impressed by our students.
Definitely,
And is
yes,
that
ma'am.
sort of how this whole
Absolute-
thing came about?
Definitely. But again, being at Claremont only at 2.5 years, I was very fortunate. Most of our faculty in our business program are doing great things for the college, but nobody was really focusing on experiential learning. So one of the things that we ramped up really quickly was local travel opportunities, because we're very fortunate in downtown Cincinnati to have two iconic Fortune 500 companies, matter of fact, top 5 Fortune 500 companies right here in Cincinnati. So that's something that Portland doesn't have, so we're kind of able to capitalize on that. So we, like I said, have developed some relationships, and we just recently spent some time at Procter & Gamble and met with the product manager. He previously was working with Old Spice and Iams, and now he's doing some revamping of websites across the world. And we met with a project manager that works with Swiffer. So students were able to go to an iconic living legend company, and then at the same day spend some time with the entrepreneurs of Tom and She and hear their a dream becomes a reality story, which is truly what it is, and so fortunate that we're able to be able to participate in their journey. Because another thing that we do for PACE, not only do we take students out on experiential learning opportunities, but we try to bring the real world into Claremont campus. And we were very fortunate that True and Corey were able to come this semester and share their wonderful experiences with our students. And as a matter of fact, it was one of the largest events on campus led by a student organization. So, and that also really provides opportunities for our business students to develop leadership opportunities, as well as event planning, and really focus in on details and on and on and on.
And Maggie, you were instrumental in that, weren't you? Both of you?
Absolutely.
Tell us about that. I mean, what was that experience like? Because you organized, was a small business day?
In Portland.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
was separate. Then
Yeah, that's separate.
I was thinking that that
No.
was a Tom and She event. I'm sorry. So tell us about the Tom and She event, and then we'll talk about the other.
Sure. Matt did a lot for the Tom and She event, so.
It was not the easiest to get it up and to get it an event like that of the size that we wanted on our campus. So we didn't have the locations that we wanted, and we got one finally that met all of our qualifications that we needed. The biggest being that we wanted to bring the food to campus, and we wanted them to cook it on our campus so that we could have everybody who was there try some.
Oh, great.
So the biggest hurdle, I guess you could say, was having to find the electricity on different circuits.
There's always
for all
something,
the
Matt.
grills. But we found the perfect location, and up until the night before, me and Maggie were working on finalizing this event, and there's a lot that goes into an event of this size, and being able to see all the students there and all the faculty and all the business people from around Claremont, it made me realize that all those nights of staying up and finalizing everything was worth it, and was actually worth everything I was putting into it.
Oh, good. And what about you?
Yeah, it was fun. Like Matt said, we were up late almost every night the week before the event, just trying to get all the details set in stone. But it was also nice that we interned there, because we were able to work hands-on with the people who were going to be at the event too,
That's fantastic.
and stay in close contact with them.
That's fantastic. So we alluded to this a minute ago, but you organized Small Business Day, I guess, in Portland. So tell us about that.
So Dean and I, the two students that we went last year and this year again, we planned Small Business Day, where we went to Danner, Tanner, Polar, and Icebreakers.
Okay.
Those are all athletic and outdoor apparel stores in Portland, and they're all within walking distance. So we just
Cool.
walked the block, and all of their products are made local in Portland,
Nice.
and it's really nice. And we got to see the taste of the outdoor and athletic apparel that day with the help of a UC alumni, Sue Ball.
Oh, great. Great. And how did you pick them because they were in a short radius of each other, or how did you sort of decide on those businesses?
Sure. When Dean and I called Sue to help, that she could help us plan this day, she kind of was the one, we could go to Danner and Tanner because she's familiar with the people, because she works for the athletic and outdoor company out in Portland.
Great. That's fantastic. And what was different about that than the big businesses that you visited? Because you visited a lot of big businesses while you were there.
With those small businesses, it was nice to see that they took the time out of their day too to stop what they were doing and share their stories with us, when I'm sure because they have less employees, so they have a lot more to do. But it was really impressive to see Polar, just a small company, they have a huge following base on social media.
Wow, interesting.
They're doing something right when it comes to social media.
And why do you think that's the case?
I think they have their mantra is camp vibes, and they make product for about any surfer, including the couch surfer. One of their popular products is called the knapsack, and it's literally meant for the couch surfer. So since they do appeal to a wide variety of audiences, and they have that Camp Vibes brand, as Maggie mentioned, they have over 50,000 Facebook followers, which is huge for a small startup company like they are. So,
Wow.
And I think it's just because of their quirkiness, and everybody kind of wants to be a part of their brand because they do appeal to, the hardcore outdoor camper and skier, but they also appeal to almost anybody because, everybody likes to surf on the couch occasionally. So.
And of course, we can't talk about Portland without talking about the food trucks. So you all went and saw and tasted and that kind of thing. What was your favorite?
Well, we had one specific stop at the food pod where we had a good while to walk around and see all the different kinds. So I had some Greek and some Italian and some American. So I kind of went around the globe in an hour, and it was great. The food was the food was great. I mean, there's so many words that I could use to describe the food trucks and the food that they serve, but having the region out there where you can do that and the temperatures that they have, it's great to be able to get out there and get some fresh food from a local small food truck than it is from a ginormous like McDonald's or Wendy's.
Absolutely. And we're about to wrap up, but what was your favorite one?
Nongs. Is that how you say it?
Yes,
Nongs.
Nongs, yes.
Chicken and rice.
Oh, okay.
Best chicken and rice I've ever had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Incredibly simplistic dish, but she started as a food cart. She now has a brick and mortar store. She has her own line of sauces, and she won Chopped. So we all got our pictures taken with her.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, well, thank you so much to the three of you for coming on the show and talking about your Portland experience. I know that it's been a huge success, and congratulations, Jay, on doing this a second year. And I know you're going into your third year, and best wishes to our students as well. So thank you all.
Thank you.
So, and we thank you for joining us on College Connection, and thanks for tuning in.